Okay, bear with me with my mic and my unedited video here, but this has been on my mind for a little while now. The very, very close similarities between our friend Maliketh and Blythe. There's quite the quite the similarities. So I'll try and keep it brief, but I know I'm gonna ramble. Um, so with Blythe here, we've got Ronnie betraying the fingers. Go away, dragon. Um, we've got Ronnie betraying the fingers, and because Blythe is a construct of the greater will, yes, he's loyal to Ronnie to a point. But if she's gonna go against the greater will, then he's gonna end up betraying her, and that's gonna absolutely just tear him apart, right? He does not like that very much at all, because he feels he shouldn't be betraying her, but yet it's happening anyway. And there's nothing he can really do about it. But with... And so that's him, you know, he doesn't really get a choice. And Ronnie kind of knew this was going to happen, but didn't really care. Well, okay, I say she doesn't really care, but, like, obviously she cares, but she also just doesn't have a choice. And so she's like, I gotta do this anyway, and that sucks and all. Guess you just have to go crazy now, Blythe. Sucks. Unfortunate. Yeah, not much that can be done there. But with Maliketh, instead of him betraying Marika, instead Marika betrays him. Well, why would she do that? Well, because she probably knew that he was going to end up betraying her in the first place. And so she's like, alright, well, I know that he's going to feel absolutely horrible about betraying me, so I'm going to do it first by giving him destined death so that he has a purpose and he's not technically betraying me, and that he's technically doing what the greater will wants, so he won't go after me. And so, yes, Maliketh is, like, getting screwed over, and she knows this, but she probably was thinking, Marika was probably thinking, shh, sorry, Ronnie, but shh, Marika was probably thinking, well, it would absolutely tear Maliketh apart to have to betray me, because he doesn't have a choice when the greater will is involved. But at least he won't have to feel like he's betrayed me and failed me in every single aspect ever. So at least there's that, I guess. And so she betrays him first, even though she knows he'll never understand why she betrayed him, ever. He'll never understand because he couldn't wrap his mind around betraying the Golden Order or the Greater Will. Because he can't betray the Greater Will. That's just not something he can do. Because that's where his true allegiances lies, with the Greater Will, not with Marika. He'd like to believe that Marika was the one that he'd always follow, and he did. But if push came to shove, he'd have to, you know, attack her. He wouldn't have a choice, and I feel like Marika knew that, and so to protect him, in a way, because she knows he'd probably feel terrible about it, she would betray him first, even though she knew he'd never understand. So that's why I think she betrayed him. I know that's kind of like a tangent, but I think that's why she betrayed him. Not because she hated him and just wanted to betray him. I think Marika really cared for Maliketh. The problem is she knew that he'd end up having to betray her, and so she just did it first to spare him that, like, just going absolutely crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, like what happened with Blythe. That's why it's the same scenario, played out differently. Both would not have a choice but to betray if they went against the greater will. I'm probably gonna suck fighting, but I'm gonna get to Blythe in a second. I'm still talking about Maliketh. At least a little bit. But yeah, that's what I think Marika's betrayal of Maliketh was actually a mercy, because she knew he'd have to betray her anyway when she was gonna go break the ring, and so she kind of gave him like a busy job so that he'd end up technically not betraying the Golden Order and technically not betraying her, and because she'd betray him first. So I feel like that was her big brain scheme, is to just do that instead and have him, because yes, he'll never understand. He will never understand. As we see from his dialogue, he's like, Marika, why did you gull me? Which is another word for saying, you know, why did you betray me? But, like, because he'll never understand. And I feel like she knew that, but she also knew that he'd hate himself more when he had to betray her. So it's kind of just a lose-lose, because their greater will kind of sucks. But then Ronnie didn't really have... Oh my gosh. Ronnie didn't really have this leeway to like have a thing for Blythe to do so that he wouldn't go crazy. And the Black Knives, one that I was fighting right now, were about to just start beating him. And so really, I feel like Ronnie had to know. Ronnie had to know that Blythe was going to end up betraying her. She had to know. Not by his own choice. I feel like she was just hoping that the Black Knives would take him out, even though the Black Knives are not working for her anymore, because why would they go kill her closest companions? I just feel like she was hoping that they'd just take him out.
I could never betray her, no matter what might happen. Ronnie, she needs me.
Hello. That's the greater will for you. Okay. I wanna cheese him a little bit. It's so unfair, oh my gosh. I suck. But, see, like with Blythe, as we can see right now, he is just completely just lost his marbles. There's not much he can do. Because he doesn't want to betray her, and that's why I feel like Marika was saving Maliketh this fate. Right here. She was trying to save Maliketh this fate of just going crazy. Even if she'd have to end up hurting Maliketh anyway, I feel like she weighed her options and went, well, this is the least bad of the two, I guess. Sorry. I kind of cheesed him a little bit. Now, one thing they say is you can't kill a shadow, but I feel like when the shadows lost their purpose, you can definitely kill a shadow. But that's another question as to why he stays dead now, but when you attack him earlier, he doesn't. And E.G. knew. E.G. knew that Blythe was going to end up betraying Ronnie, and so he tried to lock him up, but it just didn't work because he somehow got out. Even without our help, he still gets out, probably because of the greater will. But that's not really important. The thing that I'm trying to get at is that the greater will sucks, and if you're gonna go against the greater will, the thing that you kind of quote unquote love the most, you know, the thing that's a brother to you in the shadow, is going to end up having to betray you if you go against the greater will, because they were made by the greater will in the end. And so even if this shadow will always be loyal to you, as is proven by Maliketh and Blythe, even going against the greater will, when push finally comes to shove, when you finally damage the greater will, if you don't have some sort of failsafe in place, they're going to go crazy. Because Marika had a failsafe, destined death. I feel like that was her failsafe for Maliketh to make sure he didn't go crazy fully, because he was supposed to guard that, so then technically, he was still working for the Golden Order, even though Marika blasted the Elden Ring to pieces. That's why he didn't go crazy fully. I mean, he was distraught, don't get me wrong, and he will never understand why she betrayed him, but I feel like that's why she betrayed him, so that he wouldn't have to go crazy, and she wouldn't have to put him down, potentially. Because she didn't want that for him. Because a lot of people might think, you know, man, Marika really hates Maliketh. I don't think so. I think she did all this to save him from the fate that befell Blythe, where he just goes absolutely berserk. Yes, I said that on purpose, because he's kind of a reference to Berserk. Great anime. Well, okay, not anime, manga. But, and so, Blythe, there was no failsafe. He was going face first into betraying the Golden Order, and when Ronnie finally damaged the Golden Order by attacking that finger, or the two-finger clone, whatever the heck happened there, he finally snapped, because she finally did enough damage to the Golden Order that he was, well, I mean, he had to do something. He had to go and attack her, and they were going to force him to do it. Also, she had killed every other one of the baleful shadows, so he was the last shadow left to do anything about her as well. That probably doesn't help much either, but I feel like Ronnie and Marika both really cared about their shadows. I mean, it's kind of like, that's kind of a no-brainer that they really cared about him, and they didn't want to hurt him, but they also had to go against the greater will. I have my own theories about Marika, but I won't get into it here. But all my rambling aside, here's my idea. Ronnie had no failsafe for Blythe to do to technically serve the greater will. And I use greater will and Golden Order interchangeably, and I will, and I have a million times. And so, and because he just went fully headlong into the betraying the greater will as well, it drove him crazy, because the greater will's like, nah, stop that. But Maliketh, by holding a rune of the Elden Ring, technically, I think that's what Dust and Death is. It seems like it. And holding Dust and Death and technically doing what the greater will wants by protecting the Erd Tree, she made sure that Maliketh wouldn't go crazy like Blythe, so that she could keep him somewhat safe. Yes, she screwed him over, but I feel like she knew that Maliketh would hate himself so much more, as we see with Blythe, if he betrayed Marika. even though Maliketh will never understand why she betrayed him, in his dialogue it says as much, but I think that's why she betrayed him, is because she wanted to try and save him from the insanity that happened to Blythe. But that's just my crazy thoughts. Please like the video. I have no aim in life.